Life Audio.
If you want to have a better family system, you know that I talk frequently about your family system. That is asking yourself, am I living the legacy that I want to leave behind? And sometimes those two don't actually add up.
Check out some of the recent and upcoming episodes from the Salvation Army's Words of Life podcast. Throughout November, we're focused on missions with a panel of missionaries who share their testimonies and what they've learned about mission work over the years.
People that were Hindu, people that were Muslim. You can't form any kind of church. You can't do anything without building a relationship with those people.
And throughout December, we are so excited to be joined by worship leader and pastor April Christina Farmer as we focus on gratitude this Christmas season.
People feel that all the time, like, how in the world? Why would you let this person go? Why would you let me walk through that? Why would you allow this sickness to overtake my body? And Jesus is like, I know it's tough, but you don't know what's coming. I do. Will you trust me?
Listen to the Salvation Army's Words of Life wherever you get your podcasts or visit wordsoflifepodcast.org.
So many of us believe in something far beyond ourselves, and now there's a special place for us. Fox Faith on Fox Nation, with exclusive original premium content that lifts us up, sustains our spirit, and fills us up with hope. Now you can stream hours and hours of commercial-free, faith-based content anytime, anywhere. With exciting series like God Family Football, about a coach, a team, and their faith. And streaming November 17th, Martin Scorsese presents The Saints, one of America's greatest storytellers, recreates the lives of Joan of Arc, Maximilian Kolbe, Sebastian, and John the Baptist. Before they were saints, they were people. Then, streaming December 8th, Jesus Crown of Thorns, a new epic original docudrama series. They fought for his power, he conquered with love. You know his story, but not like this. Fox Faith is only available by subscribing to Fox Nation. So go to foxnation.com and sign up today.
Hello and welcome to the Encourager Podcast, where we have encouraging conversations to help you joyfully harmonize your home and work life. I'm your host, Rebecca Scott. I'm a wife, mother, designer, coach, and author. I'm here to help encourage and empower you to confidently make decisions that work for you and your stage of life, whatever that might be. Hello, Encouragers. Today's podcast is brought to you by Just Thrive Probiotics, my go-to supplement to feel more energized and lighter. I also love the Just Thrive Calm supplement to keep my thoughts from spinning and to keep them more focused and in the moment. Use code ENCOURAGER to get 15% off by going to justthrive.com. On today's episode, we're talking about goals yet again, but these are 3 simple hacks, if you will, that will move the goal forward or allow you to finally accomplish it. Are there any chronic goal setters listening today? Are you tired of having all the motivation, all the determination, and yet somehow it doesn't quite ever get accomplished? You even have the habit tracker, which is a free resource on the encouragerpodcast.com, or maybe you've even done a vision board, or maybe you've done the thing where I say, hey, you got to put it in 2 places because the first one you forget. Maybe you've done all of that, and yet the goal still sits unfinished. I want you to try these 3 things. Now, permission. You may not try all of them. You're going to choose between the 3 what is the best thing for your goal to move forward. So it may not be all 3, but just listen in and decide which one is best for you to finally finish that goal. Number 1, think about a pairing. Think of what might help with moving the goal along by pairing it. So, for example, bread and butter, cheese and chili, makeup removal and brushing your teeth. What 2 things belong together always? This is a pairing. You need to make sure that the first thing you pick is already a habit or something you do regularly. This is not where you just pick 2 similar things and pair them together now. The first one has to be something that you've already established is just always regular and it's always a habit. That way it's less guesswork and there's less fuel needed to pair them. So you're already used to doing this one thing. Now you are adding the pair. Ask yourself, what could I pair this goal with that I already do regularly and will be easy to remember? The first one, regular. The second one, it's also going to be easy to remember it. Now, the first couple of weeks, you might have to put the sticky note next to the thing that you're already doing to remind yourself, hey, wait, I paired this with this, but it should be something that's already regular and it should be easy to approach this. For example, I wanted to apply for 30 podcasts this year, and it felt really laborsome to try and get there. So I kept pushing it off. Like I was like, oh, well, it's only July or it's only June. And then I thought, okay, I really do want to accomplish it. There are some goals that will happen once I get the word out there. So I cannot keep pushing this. What should I do? So I thought, okay, I'm going to pair it with Tuesday mornings podcast writing, because I've been doing that regularly for quite some time now. And they are both related, and it would be easy to pair them together. So it was in that zone, if you will, already, and I could apply to shows during Tuesday mornings. So I paired them together. I took it one step further, and I added to my agenda sheet, which is also a free downloadable from theencouragerpodcast.com. I added it on there, so I had a place that I could check mark it off. And I never did the writing for the podcast on Tuesday mornings like I regularly do without applying to a show first. I also applied the more difficult one, which is applying to shows before the writing one. The writing one has become natural for me. Applying to shows was not. So I did that one first. Then I allowed myself to write for the podcast. And then I took it one step further because I was getting more detailed and I was getting more laser focused. I started trying to reduce the friction with the step of applying to shows by Googling how to apply to podcasts. And I got some great websites on how to make it easier. So once I had paired it, I started dialing in how to make it even easier to accomplish. Ask yourself, what can I pair this goal with? Okay, number 2, what about an accountability partner? Think of who you can tell your goal to that will help hold you accountable to accomplishing it. Then they can help you reverse engineer how to get there because they get excited for you too. So this friend might be a unique friend. And I want you to choose your accountability partners carefully. So ask yourself these questions about who it might be. Who is your most driven friend? Who is your most data-oriented friend? You know the gal that's like really like her recipe box is very organized because she likes data. Okay. Who is your most detailed friend? Also might be the recipe box gal. And I know that sounds antiquated, but you are calling up some friends that you're like, oh, this friend is super driven, or this friend is very data oriented. Like they want to know all the information before they move forward. Or maybe it's your detail friend where like, I love the weeds. What are we doing? How can I help you? Or who is your most competitive friend? They might be a good pair for this also. Now it's going to depend on the goal. Who is best paired with this? Like the data-driven, maybe it's the detailed one, maybe it's the competitive one. Figure out who is the best accountability partner for your particular goal, and then ask them to hold you accountable. Now, these conversations look different for everybody. Maybe your data-driven friend will be like, okay, let's check in on Friday afternoons at 1:00. Or maybe it'll be the competitive one, and they're like, all right, let's check in every morning at 7:30. It's just going to depend on your friend. And it's also going to depend on yourself and what kind of rhythm you want to establish. But an accountability partner is a great way to move a goal forward. And think about it like this. You've had those challenges in your life where you paired up with somebody and you're like, oh, I do not want to pair up with this person because that person is probably more competitive and more driven than you are in this particular area. But guess what? Did you lose that weight? Did you show up to the gym? Did you accomplish that school goal or whatever? You probably did, right? Because they challenged you. So don't just pick the easy one here. I want you to challenge yourself and like, who really could hold me accountable to this goal? Who is going to know that this goal will move me to the next big thing that you have in store, right? Who could that be? And ask them to be your accountability partner for this goal.
Audiences are raving. The Carpenter is stunning.
What cause do you have in Nazareth?
My father sent me.
He's a fighter. He's good, too.
An unconventional parable as action-packed as it is faith-promoting. The Carpenter is Christian filmmaking at its finest.
You will accomplish more with God's help than without it.
Not like anyone I've ever known, so why help me? I'm nobody.
You're somebody to me.
The Carpenter, now in theaters.
Okay, number 3. Pick a deadline. Now, I just recorded a podcast all about this, but deadlines are a natural way of moving things towards a goal. When you set the deadline, you immediately reverse engineer how to make it happen. Sometimes with goals,
We declare the goal and we even have some steps, but we are scared to put a deadline on it because we know somehow that deadlines mean business. It's like an innate thing. So it's better if we just aim for it and give ourselves a little wiggle room. Now, you know how I feel about the word wiggle. I say do things at 80% so that you've got like 20% to wiggle with, but you can still set a deadline at 80%. You can still say, okay, I want to have it accomplished by October so that by December, that extra 20%, I figure out what more I want for the goal, or I can let it go. Okay. So there's a little bit of permission there, but you do need to set a deadline. And sometimes you haven't accomplished that goal because you haven't been honest with yourself about when you could finish it. So if the goal is huge and you're like, well, I mean, it could be 3 years out, then I want you to take tinier steps. Okay. What would be the goal 3 months from now? If you reverse engineer 3 years of accomplishing the big thing, what would it look like 3 months from now? That is now your deadline. Deadlines ensure we have a target, not just a direction. Direction is good. And we can take 1,000 steps in the right direction, but unless a target is declared, a deadline, we will never reach our destination, the goal. Or therefore, never aim for what's next after completion, right? What would be the next thing after that if we're just like always aiming for the right direction, but we haven't declared the target, which is the goal? We can have a ton of great intention, but never actually accomplish it. A deadline might be the perfect thing to get your goal accomplished. Why does this matter? Goals are great, but they're not the end-all be-all by any means. I have noticed my goals shift over the years, and even some of them die off. But if I hadn't decided they were goals in the first place, I would still be aiming at building things, but not actually seeing the progress or the fruit of my building and aiming because no target was put out there. With goals, I can see the work, I can see the dedication, and I can see the fruit of my labor. Set a goal and set a life up for accomplishing great things for him, your family, and yourself. What are you capable of? What is God asking you to make a goal of? What will change your life, your family's, or God's kingdom when you set that goal and you keep it? That's why it matters. If this has been laid on your heart to set this goal, and it could be the tiniest thing or the biggest thing, you guys, how are you going to accomplish it? Think about using these 3 things to get there, because on the other side of that might be the next amazing steps he has in store for you. So these are 3 practical things to put with your goal to see some movement. Pairing it, picking an accountability partner, or choosing a deadline. Not every goal needs all 3 of these, but chances are 1 or 2 of these will work for your goal so you can finally cross it off, celebrate, and then create new ones. So for example, if you want to lose weight, do you need to pair it? Do you need to pair it with something? That is kind of a little bit more difficult, a little bit more vague, but it might be that you need an accountability partner. That one's pretty good. Like you could pick somebody else who's trying to lose weight and that is competitive or driven or an encourager. That would be a great one for that goal for losing weight, would probably be an accountability partner or a deadline for losing weight. That's always a great thing too. Like you reverse engineer, I want to do this many pounds by this date, or I want to get in shape. I'm trying to be clear that it doesn't necessarily have to be just losing weight for pounds. It could be like how you want to feel. Okay, so those 3 things might work for that example. If you want to start your website, you could pair it. What would you pair starting your website with? What is something that you do regularly that you could do a few steps towards doing your website? Or maybe it's an accountability partner if you want to start a website, and that looks like hiring a coach. Guys, I love goals. I would love to pair with you. Silent little plug there. Or maybe it's accountability of someone who's already created a website. Or maybe it's a deadline. You know, if you want to start a website and you just haven't created a deadline, maybe you just need the deadline of like, it will be done by December 31st, or it will be done by the first quarter. What is it within that goal in particular to be best for? Is it a pairing? Is it accountability partner? Or is it a deadline? If you want to have a better family system, you know that I talk frequently about your family system. That is asking yourself, am I living the legacy that I want to leave behind? And sometimes those 2 don't actually add up. If you sit back and go, wow, I know the legacy that I want to leave behind. Like you can visualize the generations to come and what you want them to be living out because of what you left behind, but you aren't currently setting it up for that. Like you're not living that day to day. Then have a little sit down with yourself and possibly your spouse and go, all right, we need to change some things So if your family system has become a new goal, think about pairing it with something that you do regularly. So if you're reading your Bible and devotional in the morning, then you're looking at your family system and you're going, okay, what in my family system needs to start changing so that this part is true? You could pick accountability partner. This would most naturally be your spouse, and that you two regularly visit about your family system and maybe use the guided worksheets that we provided on the website. But like your accountability partner for this particular goal would most likely be your spouse. And if that's not an option for you, who would hold you accountable to what you think has been laid on your heart for your family? Who in your life? Maybe it's a mentor, maybe it's somebody from church, or maybe it's a deadline. Now, the deadline is a harder one to pick for the family system because there's not an actual, like, your family system is never done, but maybe it is making a plan for your family. So maybe it's making the 3 values you want for your family. So there is still, you could do part of that, but the deadline part of those 3 practical things is a little bit harder with the family system goal. Let's say your goal is to be better about encouraging others. Is that a pairing? Do you pair it with your morning coffee and then you send an encouraging text message out? Maybe you pick an accountability partner for it. You like have a friend who's also really encouraging. You're like, hey, let's set up some goals for how many people or how many times we want to encourage others. Or maybe it's a deadline. Again, this one is a little bit harder to do, but you could still say, like, I want to encourage 30 people in the next 30 weeks. So it's 1 person a week or whatever. Could you pair any of those 3 things to help you accomplish your goal of wanting to encourage more people? So I've mentioned quite a few resources that are available on the encouragerpodcast.com. Just click the resources tab, print those off. I know it's old school, but printing off really does help you accomplish them. I really do love using the habit tracker, even for things that you think are not a goal, like improving your family system, improving your marriage. All you have to do is turn those into a goal and use some resources that we've provided for you for free that will help you accomplish that goal so you can get to the next stage and the next goal that you have in store. And remember, you get the idea that not every goal needs all 3 of them, but chances are 1 or 2 of them will resonate with your goal and it'll give you just a little bit of oomph to accomplish them. If it's been laid on your heart to accomplish these goals, if it's something that you're like, I just want it so bad, try these 3 simple approaches to help move it forward. Remember, the 3 things are: maybe it needs to be paired with something, maybe you need an accountability partner, or maybe you just need a deadline. Now zoom out, take a look. Is this your vision board? Is this just in your planner, your goals for the year? Or maybe it was just your goals for the next 6 weeks. And if you don't have any goals written down and now you're like, wait, I just never knew how to write it down or how to pair it with something or how to get started with it. Now sit with it. Give yourself like 10 minutes to sit with what are my goals and why am I stuck? Would any of these 3 help me get unstuck with accomplishing this goal? Use our Facebook and Instagram communities to tell us what your goals are so the rest of us can help you narrow them down and like go, okay, you know what? I think that would be best with an accountability partner. We'd love to hear from you on our social media channels or by email. You can email us or you can book a free discovery call with me. I love talking about goals. I'd love to help you pursue whatever it is that's on your heart that you want to accomplish. I hope you feel really encouraged that your goals are in fact accomplishable, that you can do this. These are 3 practical ways to get back on board to accomplish those amazing goals you have set before yourself. Until next time, encouragers, we got this because he's got us.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If the Encourager podcast has helped or encouraged you in any way, please subscribe to the show and leave a 5-star review. And then help us spread the message of encouragement and hope by sharing the podcast with others. Ready to bring more organization and joy into your life? The Encourager Academy helps you harmonize your home and work life through our online course and coaching programs. Our 5-system approach, me, food, family, work, and home, tackles your biggest obstacles, offering lifetime access to video lessons and guided worksheets. Learn at your own pace with practical tools and strategies. Enroll now at encourageracademy.com and use code WeGotThis for $50 off. Are you ready to finally create systems that help you thrive in both home and work life? Join my 10-week coaching cohort designed for busy women like you. Together, we'll create customized, foolproof systems for managing your home, business, and personal life with joy and purpose. With live coaching, practical tools, and a supportive community, you'll leave feeling organized, confident, and in control. Don't wait. Spots are limited to 10 women. Visit encouragerpodcast.com to apply.
Are you concerned about tensions in the Middle East? Do you wonder where we're currently at in the biblical timeline? Are we really in the last days? Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Carl Muller with the Inside the Epicenter podcast. Every week, my co-host, best-selling author Joel Rosenberg and I answer those questions and more. You'll hear inside knowledge of our meetings with leaders at the highest levels of government in the U.S., Israel, and the Middle East, equipping you to filter the news with biblically sound insights. Find Inside the Epicenter on your favorite podcast app or go to joshuafund.com to listen and subscribe.